Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Journey Out podcast. Today, we will be talking about overcoming fears as an entrepreneur. So let's get right into it.
What is home care?
How do I navigate healthcare?
What do I do when I feel down and depressed?
I'm stressed.
Am I enough?
What can I do?
What is this going to cost?
So let's get into a little bit about talking about how to overcome fears as an entrepreneur. And we're entrepreneurs, so we have been there, we've done that. But I kind of want you to kind of go over for me, why does fear of failure hold so many people back?
Wow, that's a good question. I think nobody wants to fail, right? Fear is really coming from the unknown. Mm-hmm. You step out there, you start a business, but you don't have the steps, you really don't have the blueprint to make your business succeed.
Right.
So the fear of failure is just, hey, I don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I don't know what that's going to look like. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm going to rebound. Right. But failure builds character.
Right.
For you to succeed in the future.
Right. And honestly, you want to view, as an entrepreneur, you want to view failure as a stepping stone for success. Because if you don't fail, you would likely just stay the course. Like you would just continue to do every day what you thought worked every day. And if you didn't find out that it didn't work, or it didn't help people, or it didn't essentially do what your mission is said to do, then you would just keep doing what's not important, and it's not valuing anybody.
In business or in life,
right?
Obstacles gonna come, right? Through your journey, obstacles gonna come, but those obstacles or those failures or those situations are learning lessons. Right. And that makes you better as a person. Right. If you learn from them. Right. So now I know how to navigate through this situation. If this situation come up again or something similar, I'm gonna do something different because I've learned from the last situation. Right.
And so let's talk about some common fears that most entrepreneurs have. Right.
Well, let me ask you this.
Okay, go ahead.
How can entrepreneurs use failure as a stepping stone?
Well, I would say essentially just being able to redirect. Mm-hmm. I think it's super important for entrepreneurs not to be kind of stagnant or wanting to stay in one place or wanting to stay in your comfort zone. What failure tends to do is push you in a completely opposite direction. But without that direction, you can't grow. Right. You know, you're kind of just stuck at this plateau, and you know, with failure, comes success, comes redirection, which leads to different opportunities for you to grow as an entrepreneur. So I would say that. Okay, so
do me a favor right now. Define fear of failure in the entrepreneur journey.
Okay, so there's quite a few, obviously. One of the big ones is financial loss. Everybody knows that if you're an entrepreneur, you're going into it with the mindset of, I have to make my own money, right? And so one of the big things that you're going to think about is, can I sustain this? Am I going to be able to make profit? What if something happens and there's another coronavirus or something, pandemic and all these things that pop up? Can I sustain through that? What happens if I lose money? Another one is like public embarrassment.
Oh, man.
So many people go through different things. I mean, we've seen a lot of entrepreneurs that are now put on blast for, doing things illegally or just doing just weird things. And so public embarrassment is always going to be one of those things if people don't agree with me, cancel culture is so real these days. If people don't agree with what I'm saying, if people don't agree with what I'm doing, there is a potential for us to be, embarrassed publicly.
For making decisions, probably that you think is good for the business, but also, so what about, you also have letting down family and friends.
Right.
Because those people look up to you, first of all.
Right.
And those people are the reason why you'll get in the business or do your journey is to support your family, right? And so you can feel a letdown in doing that.
I mean, and you think about it, if you think about first-time entrepreneurs like ourselves, we're the first ones really in our family to say, hey, let's do something. Let's start something for others because we went through something.
Right.
We're the real first entrepreneurs. That can hold a lot of weight for some people. And so a lot of the people do look at you like, hey, you got to hold us up because you decided you wanted to do this and it's going great now, but can you sustain?
Right. And
yeah.
And then that brings in self-doubt.
Oh, yeah.
And imposter syndrome.
Oh, yeah.
So one big thing for me, right?
Yeah.
We're the biggest critics of ourselves, right? We give ourselves the hard time. We criticize ourselves harder than probably anybody, which creates self-doubt in our abilities to do things. So then you add the imposter syndrome to it. So now to me, that means, hey, I'm coming into an area of business I really have no experience in, but I'm trying to imposter or do what other people are doing.
Yeah.
And that to me wasn't working.
It's just one of those things like you said, we're our biggest critics. We don't feel like we're ever prepared enough for where we are or where we're going. Like we don't ever feel like we're prepared enough. When you started PC, it was because Granny was going through what she was going through, and you was like, hey, I need to be a resource for other families who went through this. Okay, well, there's more to business than just being like, I want to help people.
So listen.
So much more to that.
Even with that, what happened was, okay, yes, I want to help people.
Yeah.
So the only thing I knew is I knew the ADL part about it. I knew I wanted to assist people with bathing, grooming, transport, the easy stuff. I knew that.
We know that.
But once I started looking into it and going through the state, oh man, I have to have agreements. I have to have this policy.
Paperwork.
I'm like, I didn't sign up for this.
Like it's such a different thing, and then also too, I don't know about like for you, but as far as me, in school I didn't learn about entrepreneurship or business, and then I didn't go to college for that. I went and got a trade. I became a medical assistant. They weren't teaching us any business or anything like that, so it's all a learning curve.
So eventually, for us in our demographics, usually sometimes the college or the schooling is the hard knock life of jumping in feet first. And I'm gonna go back to this imposter syndrome. I like to wear a good suit. I like to dress up, I like to look good and smooth, but jumping into a networking environment or a business environment, that wasn't me. I like jogging pants and J's. And once I said, hey, let me take my identity back, it was, some people like it, some people don't, but it worked for me.
And I think that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, because it's not a one size fits all. Again, with the imposter syndrome, you can't please everybody. And you're not going to be able to make everybody happy. You're not going to fit into every crowd. It's not going to be that way. I think at the end of the day, as an entrepreneur, what you have to wake up and do and say, hey, one, I'm putting my faith first if you believe. I'm serving others second. And then the next thing I'm going to do is make sure that I'm being myself wholeheartedly in every situation.
Because once you become yourself or you find yourself, like I always say, failures build character for you to succeed. And honestly, as you go through your journey on whatever that is, guess what? That character is going to peel back the layers that you didn't even know you had in you to make you be that person that you were called to be.
I mean, if there's a bunch of breeds out there, the reason for entrepreneurship is for you to be the Antoine. You have to be different. You have to be yourself. You can't just give it to people cookie cutter, and it's not going to always work that way. People like authenticity, and when you bring that sets the tone. But kind of share some statistics for me, or some research about just failure in entrepreneurship and kind of how they really do go hand in hand.
Okay, so according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, around 20% of new businesses fail within the first year.
That's crazy. Okay.
50% fail within 5 years.
Okay.
And then 65% fail within 10 years. I thought that the longer that you have your business, the greater it is to succeed. Which in some cases, and it can be. But they say 65% of businesses fail within the first 10 years. Not only you got to get past the first year, that's 20% of business fail. 50% failing within 5 years, and then 65% in 10 years. That's wow.
That's just an alarming statistic. But and you don't, and like you said, you don't think about that because you're thinking, oh, if there's longevity, you're obviously doing okay.
Yeah.
You know, there's, but sometimes that's not always the case.
Right.
You know, because the one thing about being an entrepreneur and about the longevity of businesses, they change. That's why failure comes into play. Things change, things happen, things evolve. And sometimes you can evolve in a direction that is not good for growth, not good for business, not good for keeping people on board with you. And then sometimes you can grow and have that longevity and you're moving in a direction that is positive, for the trajectory of your business. So it just really all depends.
Okay, so let's go here.
Okay.
So let's reframing, failure as learning tools.
Okay, let's do it.
Reframing failure as learning tools.
Okay.
Tell me something.
So I think we got to shift our perspective on failure. Of course, failure is not something that, we want to happen, but it's just bound to. It's just one of those things. So we have to shift our perspective and understand that failure is not the end, but it is feedback for growth. Again, like we were talking about earlier, it does redirect you and get you to a certain level that you weren't at previously. If everything was all good, you would change nothing.
Right. So so a failure is a lesson to learn. So some people say, I think it's a win-win.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so let me give you some examples of that. So let's talk about Oprah, right? Okay, so Oprah encountered some pushback back in 2011 after launching her own television network. She launched her own, OWN, Oprah Winfrey Network. She launched OWN, and in 2011, she received some pushback from it. She did not have high ratings at all. And this is Oprah Winfrey. She didn't have high ratings at all, but she decided, hey, I'm going to persevere. I'm going to continue, regardless of what everybody else says. I'm going to do what I set out to do. Okay, she revamped the entire company and grew her ratings, like revamped everything. So the failure that she was reaching, which was low television ratings, which means you don't need a network because people aren't wanting to watch you. She said, okay, that is a failure. Don't get me wrong. That is not a good thing. But maybe there's something that I'm doing internally that is not boosting my ratings. And she revamped everything.
So that means she went back. She did more research. And she implemented some things that maybe her audience was liking.
Exactly.
And also to draw a new audience.
Exactly. Okay. And so she didn't view the low ratings as something that was going to end her career or end something that she wanted to do. No, she thought about it as, hey, let me redirect, let me figure out what they actually want to see, and let me put something out that they will be proud of and that I'm proud of. Right. And so one of the quotes that she is quoted saying is, there is no such thing as failure. Failure is just trying to move us in another direction. And essentially that's what happened. She was in point A, realized point A was not working out. She pivoted to point B, and look at where she is now. Someone else who is going to be important to kind of shifting that perspective is going to be Steve Jobs. Everybody knows Steve Jobs. He invented Apple, right? But guess what? His own company fired him. He was fired from his own company that he created back in 1985. He got back on board in 1997, right? Then he came back with new innovative ideas. He created the iPod, which went crazy. Then, of course, later on, invented the iPhone that most people use today, right? And so he is quoted by saying, sometimes when you innovate, you can make mistakes. It is best to admit them quickly and get on with improving your other innovations. And that is what's important. As an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur because you set out to make a change or a difference in something that you've seen. For us, we got the diagnosis of dementia, and it was like, okay, go figure it out. We were like, okay, why we got to figure it out? I thought somebody was supposed to help us figure this stuff out.
We had to figure it out.
We had to figure it out.
And some people, destiny and success is in their, what's the word?
Determination.
In their pain.
Oh, yeah.
Or in their life obstacle.
Yeah.
So don't overlook
Yeah. Those hard times.
Those lessons, those obstacles that come up in your life, because your pain that come from it can be your destiny.
Exactly. And
Am I preaching?
You preaching. But that's how we got here today. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Like, you're in the business of fixing someone's pain points.
Right.
That's why you have your business. So you can't just decide when it gets hard, I'm not going to do this. Because guess what? There's so many people depending on you to keep this going. The people that you set out to help in the beginning, but now you're probably employed some people, they need you. You probably have clients, they for sure need you.
And somebody needs to hear your story.
Exactly. You have to kind of like be the springboard for the next entrepreneur. You have to set the tone so we can continue to evolve as an economy.
Wow.
You know?
Okay. I like that.
That's just some of the things that I wanted to make sure that I talked about those two people in particular, because we know those people. We use their products every day. We watch them on TV, you know, those type of things. They also encountered failure, and if they could do it, we can too.
We can too.
But really it just speaks to resilience, adaptability, and continuous learning. Like, you can't go into a situation thinking, oh, I know what I'm doing. I know how I'm doing this, and expect for it to always be right. There's no way.
You have to going into the next thing.
Yeah.
Change your mindset.
Oh, come on.
This episode was brought to you by PC Home Health. Discover our compassionate care here at PC Home Health. We offer personalized caregivers that come and support our seniors and people dealing with disability all across the DFW Metroplex with things like bathing, grooming, meal prep, light housekeeping, transportation, and so much more. If you or your loved one are needing assistance inside of your home with these activities of daily living, please look no further. PC Home Health is here for you. Please reach out at 214-991-5619 and discover compassionate care today.
And for a free consultation, give us a call.
Yes, sir.
All right. The mindset is very important. Your mindset, if you're not willing to change it and look at it from outside of your own bubble, can keep you locked in.
Right.
So your mindset can cause that fear, can cause those doubts, can make you think you're not good enough, can also make you think you don't have the right product.
Right.
Or whatever that is you may be doing. Changing your mindset is crucial. Understanding that it's going to be ups and downs. It's going to be storms, right? It's going to be some winds. It's going to be things that's going to make you feel like, hey, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Why do I need to get up and take this? I can be doing something else.
Yeah.
But having a strong mindset, a strong belief in what you're doing, who you serving, or your product that you are selling is a big key.
Yeah, and the big word that you said there was change.
Right.
You have to be willing. You have to be willing to change your mindset, change your situation, be resilient, adapt to whatever circumstances come to you. You have to be willing to listen. We talked about continuous learning. So we've been in business 8 years now, right? We just left a conference last week where we were learning how to continue to grow our business, but also to continue to give that same quality of care. And so we decided, hey, anytime we come back from these, and we've been to about 4 now.
Right.
And so it's a continuous thing. We're like, we're not good enough. We're never good enough. We always can be better. And this time we decided, hey, let's bring the staff. So the staff for 8 years have heard us say X, Y, and Z. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this.
And we come back from the on fire. Hey, yes, this is what we're gonna do. Let's do this. And they looking at us like, what is doing?
Going on? You know, we took them to the conference. We now come back from the conference, and they're like, I understand.
They on fire.
The pieces of the puzzle are all here. Everything's connected. It's just a different level of. It's just a different level of let's do this. Like let's change the world. Like that's how we're thinking. But that's because we also have people around us who can change mindset, adapt, continue to learn, and want to grow and want to be the best versions of themselves.
Man, continue to learn so you can teach.
Yeah.
Your testimony will help you preach.
Yeah.
Okay, let me stop.
No, I mean, keep going because you hit it on the head. Like, really, as entrepreneurs, we have to start seeing challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles. Like, I think that was one of the big things that you helped me see. Mind you, I'm like 20 plus years younger than you, right? And so you're my father owning a business. And when we came in, I'm looking at things one note. I'm like, no, we can't do this. We can't do this. This does not make sense. I don't have the manpower for this. I can't.
Listen, at that time, we probably wouldn't have had no business if I would have let her, because it was no.
I was one note. He literally set me down with a whiteboard. Again, you're talking about the leader of the company, his own daughter, sitting me down and being like, hey, think about it like this. He wrote it, and it's bringing tears to my eyes because it really talks to the level of being able to adapt, and you're teaching me and you're learning as we go too. You know what I mean? And so he's like, hey, look at it like this. Got the whiteboard out, start putting stuff together. I'm like, oh. He was like, what about this? What about this? And I'm looking, I'm like, you're so right. This does not have to be a challenge for me. I just have to think about it differently. And so
because we solve problems.
We're problem solvers. That's essentially our job as entrepreneurs, to solve problems and to make it an easy transition.
Baby,
I don't need no tissues. I'm okay. But it's just to the testament of like who you are and what we do.
Right.
We're talking about that now. So I just love that.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Good night. All right.
Okay.
So let's
We're
go
back in business. Let's go.
So we talked about mindset shifts, fix your mindset, right?
Right.
Let's talk about preparation and risk management.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so when we're going into talking about preparation and risk management, essentially as an entrepreneur, you have to prepare for different situations.
Right.
But also you do have to think about the risk that you're going to be taking as an entrepreneur. Like, you have to manage those risks in a kind of consolidated situation, so you know, okay, this is probably where failure can enter, but I am consolidating in this package that looks pretty, and I know what the outcome could essentially be.
Yes, I think some people, when they start their business and they do whatever type of risk management that they do, I think once they start to analyze the risk and see and learn where the future pitfalls can be, I think that's enough to make them say, hold on.
But this is why preparation is key, because you have to prepare for that. So the first thing you want to do is start small. You have to start testing ideas before you just go all into a situation. Especially if you haven't started the business yet and you're thinking about it and you're like, hey, I kind of really want to do this. Start small. Test different ideas first. You want to, I don't know, start a doggy daycare. That's cool. Well, because my sister-in-law, if you're hearing this is specifically for you. Yeah. Okay. If you want to start a doggy daycare, okay, the first thing you want to think about is, I need somewhere to house them. I can't go and just be like, come all the dogs, bring all the dogs to me. I have nowhere to house the dogs for the daycare. Right. You know, so you have to start small. Let's start looking at commercial properties. Let's start figuring out, you know, what are my work hours? What are those time frames? You want to start small in that way to try to make sure that I am testing everything to make sure it's, you know, can work effectively and efficiently. And also with that, you want to build a financial safety net. Exactly. Whether that's understanding what you're doing, saving money for that. Some people get a loan. Yeah. Some people do other things. We will go more deep into that part on a later podcast, because we're going to break down this information for y'all a lot. Right. Also, having a support system, a mentor, coaches, a coach, community. Listen. Quick story. It was on a Friday. I was going to see my boy Mark Drake, and that Saturday I was going to say, hey, listen, I had another meeting, but I was finna hit the floor running. Yeah. I had my flyers printed and everything. Yeah. Hey, this is what I'm gonna do. Mark, speaking with him, he gave me some advice, right? And I didn't know nothing about that advice. He gave me some tidbits of how your business form and this and that. Yeah. I'm like, okay, cool. That's cool. All right, I'm gonna look into that. But I told him that Friday night, I was like, listen, I'm gonna speak to somebody else Saturday morning. And if it ain't saying something that I want to hear or what I need to hear,
I'm going putting flyers.
You going all in
I
other
was
words.
going all in.
Okay.
So Saturday morning came, and shout out to Monty. He's a business consultant. He's a great guy, and he gave me the tools I needed. He mentored me. He said, okay, if you're gonna do this, you need to go do boom. What about the state? Do. And for probably a month or two, every Saturday he sat with me to make sure I was doing what I needed to do to start the business right, on solid ground to move forward.
Yeah.
So him, again, shout out to Monty. I called him OG Monty. I appreciate you, sir.
Yeah.
Him taking time out of his from his family, his weekend to spend with me, helped me, and I appreciate that. So mentors are great. Even we went to this conference.
Yeah.
We have coaches and stuff to help us in this specific business in home care. So man, it's a must-have.
It's important. It's important to learn from people who are doing it on a day-to-day basis.
And a higher level.
And at a higher level. You know, I can. If they, what was the saying? If you're the smartest person in the room, find another room.
Yes.
Like that's essentially it. You know, you want to be around people who are, you know, making a difference, making a positive difference, and people who are wanting to grow just like you and doing the same thing that you're doing, because you can add those same kind of techniques and different things that they're using to your business to help you grow as well. And then it's like a mastermind. Like you're talking to different people, you're getting their input, but they're doing the same thing. So you've either been there or you're going to be there, and that's the thing. You guys can kind of piggyback off each other. But I also think that it's important that you build confidence as an entrepreneur. Again, you don't go into it knowing everything you need to know. You don't go into it knowing all the policies and the state rules and all the qualifications. So it's important that you build confidence. And the first way you can do that is by setting realistic and measurable goals. I know we all heard of SMART goals, SMART goals. Set realistic and measurable goals. Hey, if you want to start your business and you know that I don't have the capital, but I also need to secure that commercial real estate space. Okay, well, maybe I need to start not 2025, January 2025, but maybe January 2026. And I can put in little measurable goals that I need to hit this by Q1 and this by Q2. You know, so little things like that to help you build your confidence as an entrepreneur. Because once you start to see it all just unfold and lay out, you're like, oh, no, I can do this.
And once you reach those small goals, celebrate those wins.
Oh, yeah. Please.
Celebrate it.
Yeah.
Acknowledge, do something to acknowledge that, hey, I got to this point. Be thankful, be appreciative, and celebrate that, hey, I reached this goal. I put it down on paper. I set realistic outcomes to help meet this goal, and I reached it. Celebrate those small wins, and shout out to Leah for that one.
Yeah. See, Coach Leah.
Yes.
The one thing we don't do is celebrate wins. We just keep going, and we're like, great, and we just keep going. But it's important to do that because, again, it does build your confidence and let you know, hey, I can do it. But also, you have to learn from mistakes instead of dwelling on them. Like, I don't know, we can be hit with a million things in a day. We're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, okay, I know what I need to do. And I just go make the correction. And you just got to keep going.
When things come, you have to really get into problem solving mode. All right, how do we solve this problem? And then once you solve the problem, how do we make sure, is it somewhere in our operations that we fail for this problem to come up? So you have to set operational goals as well, right? And once you fix that problem, learn from it and keep moving.
And then I would say one of the last things you want to do is really develop a routine of reflection and then improvement. One of the good things that I know you taught me in the beginning, I would be like, well, why did? And you were like, well, listen, it's happened. So what are we going to do? And how can we not make this mistake again? You know what I mean?
So, in other words, a lot of us, even including me, we get emotional. Right? And then we try to make the decisions on emotions. So what you would want to do is say, hey, ain't no need to keep talking about it and being mad about it. Ain't no need to sit and dwell in it. Find out what that problem is, fix the problem, and move past it, and try to make sure it don't happen again. That's the best advice. Because as long as you stay emotional or stay dwelling in it, you ain't moving. You ain't moving forward.
You're stagnant. You're stuck, and you cannot adapt and redirect yourself when there is time for change. And so I guess just as to recap a little bit about what we talked about today, I really just want to make sure that you guys understand we have to reframe our mind from what we know about failure. We have to shift perspective. Failure is not the end. Failure is feedback for growth. It also means that we have to change our mindset from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. We have to think about, hey, this may be where I am, but I am going to a different level. And so I need to change my mindset. I also have to see challenges as opportunities and not obstacles. I have to say, hey, this is a challenge, a roadblock in my way, but I can get past this with X, Y, and Z. And then now, because I went through that roadblock, let me not have that roadblock happen again, and I can do X, Y, and Z. It's also important to prepare and do some risk management. So make sure that you start small. You test all of your ideas first. You build like a financial safety net. You also get a support system.
Right.
Family, friends, coach,
mentor,
mentors, whomever is in your circle that can help you, has started businesses before, has been in this type of level before. Seek some help, seek some guidance, but also set realistic and measurable goals as you go forward with your coaches and mentors. They should be helping you say, hey, could be a good trajectory. This is what you could possibly do. But also you have to continue to celebrate those small wins.
Yes.
Make sure that you're putting yourself first as well as you continue to try to scale this business that you're doing. But make sure you celebrate the small wins. Continue to just have fun with what you're doing, because if you're not having fun, then it doesn't matter at the end of the day. If you're not enjoying what you're doing, you can't serve people clearly and correctly. So that's super important. But you also have to know failure is not the end. Your destiny surpasses all of that. And you have to remember that you can keep going and you can do it, just like all of us today.
And like you said, failure is to build character for you to succeed.
Right. So I hope that this has encouraged you. If you have a small business that you want to start, you've been thinking about starting, do it. Do it. Listen to the podcast. Reach out to us. Whatever you want to do, we're here to help and support. But just remember, start small, and failure is going to happen, but we can overcome it. And then that is all for the Journey Out podcast today. Thank y'all so much. See y'all later. Y'all have a blessed one.
Peace out.